Hello and welcome back to Wildsunne Art Studio. My name is Robinsunne. Please do like and comment and subscribe and share this video if you like this video. Thank you very much. That, of course, helps my little algorithm fairies. Well, we are back to another idea I had about making zines. And this was my idea. And it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. And it's wicked cute. So I wanted to show it to you. So this is the kind of paper, the kind of zine, the structure of zine that, come on. You take a piece of paper and you fold it in half, and then you fold that in half and that in half, so you end up with that. Then you undo it and fold your piece of paper in half that way, and you get these 4 fold lines that are very helpful. Wait a sec before you cut it. I do my cut in a T-cut, and then you can fold it forwards and backwards. And backwards. And you get a little 10-page book that way. With that 10-page book, we also have to think about putting something interesting on the front cover and on the back cover. So I made special paper cuts for the back cover and the front cover. And this kind of folding also leaves pockets. There's a pocket there, and a pocket there. I mean, once you glue it, and a pocket there. And so these are little journaling cards that I made specifically to fit inside the pockets. So I took this down to Staples because my copier is not copying blue because it doesn't want to or whatever. And I just thought I'd give you a little tour of the pages. So this one and this one, most of them have a background color and then a paper cut on top. This one has the white of the paper that it's glued to, and then there's a blue paper cut underneath and a green paper cut on top. Which kind of makes your eyes go wonky, but is really kind of pretty and effective. I liked this paper cut because you get this kind of ladder cross thing. I really like this one. I'm almost a little sad that the blue here is so close in, what is that, tone or something. It's a little hard to see, but I think it's really pretty. Yep, so we were testing out that green theory. So, all right, so here are my originals that I could copy. So if you'll remember last time I was talking about trying to make these so that they could be digitals and I could sell them on Etsy. And I keep kind of figuring out little issues that I have with the grace. And let me see if I've got another one I can show you. Here's a copy I just made to be a copy. See how there's a little white border around? And on this side, it's actually kind of a wide white border. So that has to do with placement on the page. Placement on the copier. So I realized that I didn't like this white band around the edge. And when I made this sort of paper cut original, I didn't leave any space. So it ended up, let's see if I can do this for you, cutting off some of the images at the top and the bottom. And the fold thing wasn't quite in the most perfect place. So, so the search goes on for me to figure out how to make the original so that it will copy perfectly. But anyway, this is an almost perfect copy. I did a little snipping of the white along the edges, and it came out pretty well. Let's see, here's the pocket on the second page and pocket on the third page. And actually, I give these a punch while we are sitting here discussing possibilities. All right, I think that looks about... Well, that's disappointing. I think it's getting a little old and unsharp. And if I punch it upside down for some reason, oh, maybe it just doesn't like this paper because it's shiny, you know, and the cutter just can't grab on properly. Well, that's intriguing. If I do this. No. Oh, this is so sad. Well, I think you can chomp into tinfoil, a couple of layers of tinfoil, and then chomp into a couple of layers of wax paper. And that can help sharpen the blade. I don't know. I'll deal with that later. So there's my lovely book, and here are my cards, my journaling cards, which, as I'm sitting here cutting them out right now, I'm thinking I could have made them just a tiny bit more interesting than plain blue and plain green. So that's something I could think about. For later. I'll go in there. It has a little tab on it. You can see where to pull. And I'll cut these others out later. I just wanted to go over this with you. I have figured out one thing. Right here at the top, you can see I made a pencil line to mark out all around the edge to show where the gripper on a copier could be and why I get those white edges. So I thought, well, what if I plan just not even to draw all the way out to the edges? And then I thought, well, then I'd have a white edge here, but I wouldn't have a white edge here. So I thought, and this is where I drew, let's see, you can see that, right? The red lines. If I came in, is that a quarter or an eighth? Oops, wrong way. That is an eighth. So if I drew an eighth of an inch on these two sides, then I can draw an eighth of an inch away from, you can see that that's where the fold is. So I drew an eighth of an inch, very carefully, measuring everything. So this is my new template for making zines. So if this is how I'm going to do the color part of the zine, then all I need to do is put my little words in. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about the words, what zines are about. I was making some of these zines with friends of mine, and one woman who is a book artist extraordinaire who's been making books for a very long time and is very, very good at what she does, said that she had made this same book structure and just used it as a book structure and didn't have to go on about the business of calling it a zine. And I've been thinking about that for days, and I was doing some research on the internet about what exactly is a zine. What makes a zine different from just the book structure itself? And I'm now fairly clear that a zine is not about the book structure. You can make a zine by folding a piece of plain white paper in half and put a couple papers in and staple it on the edge and do the simplest of pamphlet book. But so it isn't about the structure. The structure can be anything. It can be a accordion book. It can be one of these little folded books with cute little pockets in it. It could be something you would bind with glue or a stapler, or you could sew it closed. Really, whatever. It's not about the structure. It's about what's inside. And inside is usually, in the zine world, it's the story of the person making it or the many people making it. And often these are stories that are not told in kind of popular culture. These are often stories told by people of color or LGBTQ people or people living on the edges of economic reality, or any combination of the above, or anything. But there's stories that don't get told enough, and what makes a zine particularly special is the stories we tell that are about surviving violence or surviving mass culture or surviving so much in this world. So So that's what makes a zine, is the story that will go inside. I made an affirmation book last week, and for me, that affirmation book is about surviving the culture that says you will never be beautiful enough, you will never be smart enough. There are, no matter how hard you work in school or at your job, there are always people who are potentially will steal anything from you. Not just money and possessions, but also your life's work. People who rape and physically enact violence upon other humans. And all these stories need to be told, in my humble opinion, because we keep thinking that maybe life is very shiny because that's what we see on TV. Of course, we see the violent stuff too, but it's sort of clear when you see it on TV, these stories. And I think zine stories are often more raw than what we see at the movies. So zines are about, our important stories. I leave you with that, and I wish for you, may you have a way to tell your story, whatever your story is, happy stories as well as stories of struggle and heroism. May you be able to tell your stories out loud in the safest way possible, or quietly in the safest way possible. I wish you very well. I wish you your own zine story. And I'll see you next time. Bye.